Hello again. Yeah, I'm recording the same day I recorded the last video. Sorry. But I'm trying to get a load of videos done while I have the time. In the last video, I said about a disorder that I suffer. Well, not that I suffer with fully, I wouldn't say. I probably would have suffered with it when I was younger, maybe a few years ago. I would have been really, 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 really bad with it. I've kind of started coming out of it. So I have, not that I was ever diagnosed with it, because the hospitals didn't care about diagnosing me with it. I'll explain why. Binge eating disorder, basically, is what I want to talk about. I did suffer with this. I was doing a lot of research on it there earlier, because I followed this person on TikTok who does suffer with it, and she's a little bit older than I am. And I was kind of listening to her the other day, about binge eating disorder and like what it is and how hard it is to come out of it. So I decided to start doing a little bit of research on it, and I found out that you could only get diagnosed with it recently, as recent as 2013. That might sound like ages away, years ago for a lot of people, but in 2013 I was 19, no, 20, roughly 2021 I would have been, when it got first diagnosed. Doctors could diagnose you with it basically, fully, in 2013. It says, yeah, classified. So it's now treatable as a mental health illness. I was in hospital for not being able to lose weight, and it would have been about 2003, 2006, around that time. I can't actually remember the years, so I can't. But it was when I was about, what age would I have started? 12 up to the age of 18. So 2011, kind of, yeah, I would have finished it, yeah, because I finished before I started in Year 11. So I would have finished attending Tala Hospital in 2011, roughly. So I would have, for weight management clinic that was there for kids, well, up to the age of 18, obviously. So I attended there, but obviously binge eating wasn't like a thing, even though that's what I had. Looking back, that's what I had. I was doing a lot of research. So you're comfort eating. So if you were feeling very anxious or upset, or at, in which I normally did back then, because I didn't have anyone. Everyone who I kind of hung out with and talked to was always in school, and I wasn't. And I was getting bullied in primary school as well, and I was had like a lot of family loss, as well. Plus I had a few things in my household that weren't great, teenagers and all that, which is what my brother was at the time. So I used to hide food. So I did in my room. I would hide it in bags. I would hide it in my wardrobe where my man all never went. I made it a thing where no one was allowed to come into my room, because if they did, I caused World War III. So then people were terrified to enter my room, which meant I could hide food wherever I wanted. So I used to sneak that at night then. I used to buy loads. Like I could spend €10 in deals on multi-packs of food. Well, 4 deals is in Bray, but I'm representing it like that. I could go to Jason's, which is a local newsagent. It's just down the road for me. I could spend €2, €2 to €3 on jellies. I would literally buy myself probably 2 big bottles of Coke, which is about a fiver, and then a load of chocolate, is what I used to buy. And that would have been a couple of days a week, every week. I would have been buying that. I would have said I needed to bring junk food into school with me. So I would. Never allowed fizzy drink in school. It was always water or dilute or juice. Never the likes of Coke or anything. So it wasn't. Thankfully, I suppose. But I used to literally, I used to have my cousin stay over every Friday and Saturday night. She would stay over nearly basically every week, nearly. Or if I wasn't having my cousin over, I was down in my uncle's old house down in Ferns, down the country. But even with that, like if we went on a Saturday, we always got a takeaway on a Saturday on the way home, and we had bad food down there as well, like junk food and all, because you'd bring the biscuits and the bars with you to be nice, because that's what you did. And I used to eat a lot of that, and I used to beg my dad to stop to get like rolls and hot chocolates. Like I couldn't go for a walk without getting a hot chocolate, and one of the crappy ones as well. And I'd always get a bar with it as well. Like I got away with a lot of stuff growing up, but I used to basically eat a lot of shite. and beg for takeaways, and I'd kick up blue murder if I didn't get what I wanted. And then when I started getting my own money, when I was doing distance learning, which lasted about 3 years, when I started getting my own money every week, that money used to get spent not on bills, because my mom didn't make me do that. Instead, it was spent on junk food and takeaways every day, nearly. So I used to binge eat and comfort eat a lot. I still do now. Like, it's still a thing where if I'm sad, like, or crying at an episode or something, Graham, like, where's the chocolate? Because I used to use it as a, like, even with being with Graham, I used to use it as a reason to eat. So I did look up, and overeating was another thing. Like, even now, I'm still trying to come eat a bit better. Food wise, like when I order a takeaway, I tend to order too much sometimes, and then get left with leftovers. So, and then I feel like, oh, but I want to eat it. I still want to, and I try to force myself to eat it so it's not leftovers, kind of thing, which isn't very good. So it's not. But that's kind of what I did when I was younger. I used to hide food in my room a lot. I used to sneak down, and something I still do to this day. Obviously, as I said, I'm not as bad as I was, but when it comes to hiding food, I'm not as bad as I was. But I'm still a little bit bad. Like, if I see stuff on the counter or anywhere, I won't ask who owns it. If I happen to have a jumper or a bag on me, I will slyly take something and put it in my pocket and try not to let anyone hear me crinkle the packets. So I will. And I still have this thing where I kick up blue murder if I don't get my sweets out, like the roses and the celebrations and everything, even though it's not that big a deal. It's a freaking piece of chocolate, like. But I still have that in me. I don't hide food in my room anymore. My ma knows when I buy crap, but I still try to hide it. I still have the mentality to hide it, even though she knows I'm buying crap. I still have this, well, obviously not anymore because I've started cutting out the junk food and I've started being more honest with my ma. But every so often I feel like, okay, I need to hide this. I'm not allowed to let my ma know. I can't let my ma know. She'll kill me. Even though she won't, because she can see how hard I am trying. But obviously I was never diagnosed with it, but I feel like when I was younger, I should have been diagnosed with that in Tala Hospital, which is where I attended. I feel like I should have been diagnosed with binge eating and they should have helped me with that. Not telling me, okay, well, this is what, because I went to a dietitian and she's like, well, this is what you have to do. This, and this. I was like, okay. She gave an appointment for a week later. Now, anyone coming off junk food, as I said in the previous video, it's not easy, especially when you're a child in primary school. Bear that in mind. And, or no, actually, I think I might have been in first year at this point. But, I had just started thinking Loretta or was finishing up a Brace School project. So both stressful moments to be in as a kid. And she gave me this thing where it's like, you can have this for breakfast. You have like an option of these for breakfast, an option these for lunch, or an option for these for dinner. No snacks unless it's fruit, and then water is the only thing you're allowed to have, nothing else. And to me, I was like, are you serious? But my ma tried. She really did try. But there was days when I physically wouldn't eat what she was giving me because I was feeling sick. I was coming on a down, so she would be just like, look, you're torture. This is torture. I'm letting you away with one or two things. Like, I went through a phase where I wouldn't eat for a couple of days because I'd feel bad about what I've ate. That's one other thing that binge eating has an association with feeling guilt and shame. It can cause you to, what's it called? Purging, fasting, and excessive exercise. Now, I didn't do excessive exercise because I wasn't a very active child. I loved dancing, as I said in the previous video. Like, I did Irish dancing for years. Since I was about 7, I did Irish dancing up to the age of like 13. I did Irish dancing, which I loved, and I did try to take part in PE. Although I did have an argument with one of my teachers over it once, or twice actually, same teacher. Me and her didn't get along, but I did try my very best to take part. But when I was born, again, I think the doctors just didn't give a shit about me growing up. Still don't really. In fairness, my main doctor that I go to doesn't mention my weight at all, when it comes to other things that my weight would affect. She doesn't say, oh, well, are you losing it? Are you trying? Are you doing this? I think you need to do this. She doesn't talk to me about anything like that, which is really fucking annoying. But anyway, what you call it? When I was born, I was born with what I call penguin feet. For anyone who don't realise what I mean my knee and my ankle don't align. So when I walk, instead of my feet being perfectly straight like this, they're a little bit like this. So it's more of a waddle. So penguin. It didn't help that I did Irish dancing either. That obviously messed it up. And every time I injured my knee or my ankle, which was quite a bit, twisting it and falling, never bad enough for the hospital, just bad enough to affect me. Obviously healing, it would be healed in a pointed position, which is where you point your toe in front of you for Irish dancing. So that didn't help either with the knee and ankle. So like I wasn't a very active kid, so excessive exercise, that was never my thing. But fasting, I used to go 2 to 3 days without eating. And on the second, third day, my mom would be like, oh my God, you haven't eaten. Would you please get this into you? And it would be something, my all-time favourite meal, which would be a takeaway. And she would throw like a 3-in-1, 4-in-1, curry chip, whatever it was at me. And be like, would you fucking eat? Kind of thing. Because I hadn't eaten in about 2 or 3 days. That's what I used to do. Because I felt so bad about eating that I would stop eating altogether. Like I would do, like I'd have like a really, really bad week, like a really bad food weekend, like with my cousin Claire, say. And come the Tuesday or the Wednesday, I would still have continued the bad food into Monday, Tuesday, and I'd be like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I'd feel like there no amount of showers or comfort TV or anything made me feel better. So I'd stop eating. And I'd just be like, I was never a breakfast person. So I'd be like to my mum every morning, no, I don't want breakfast. In school, I would just leave. I wouldn't eat my lunch. Or I'd throw it in the bin. Or just leave it in my bag kind of thing. If I was at home, I just wouldn't have lunch because my mum wouldn't be here anyway. She'd be out working. My brother would be in school. My dad was in work. Like I was able to stay here and watch the dog. Whatever dog we had at the time. And I just wouldn't have lunch. And then I'd just say to my mum, yeah, I think I had a sandwich or something. And then for dinner, I'd just be like, no, I'm not really hungry. I'm just really tired. Is what I'd say. So I wouldn't have dinner. But then my mum would realise the next day that I haven't eaten. And she would throw something at me. Not physically throw it, but she'd give me really, really bad food just to get me to eat something. Because I wouldn't eat. I'd go fasting. I just wouldn't eat. I would drink a little bit of Dilute. That's about it. I wouldn't eat on. So that's another kind of symptom, or what would you call it? Sign, basically, that says you're binge eating. Another thing was overeating in one sitting, especially when you're not hungry. That's like, how would you put it? When you're finishing, like your Christmas dinner is the prime example, because everyone overeats on Christmas dinner. Well, I figure everyone overeats at Christmas dinner. So you have your big plate of dinner, and you're like, you get to the bit where it's like a little bit of stuffing and meat or whatever left, and you're like, I need to eat, and you need to eat. And then it comes dessert, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll have a big bowl of whatever's there. And then after you go off and you get straight after dinner, this is what I used to do, I'd go and get like whatever chocolate came in my stocking or as a present. If I got like a section box, I'd start picking at that. And my dessert wasn't just like a little tiny bowl of vanilla ice cream. No. I used to have a thing called a Sarah Macadori. My dad made it up. And it's literally a big massive bowl of chocolate ice cream with banana, flake, chocolate syrup, whipped cream. Oh, what was the other thing? There was 1 or 2 other things in it as well. So if you've ever had a Macadori, what's it called? Not a Roy Macadori. Nickelbacker Glory. Nickelbacker Glory. Thank you. It was a bit like that, but it was my dad's take on it. So he used to just get a big bowl and shove anything into it. So anything but the kitchen sink kind of thing. He changed it up because I really like the idea of a Knickerbocker Glory. But I think there's fruit or there's peanuts or something, nuts or something in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I think there might have been strawberries in it as well, which, embarrassing to say, my cousin still kills me to this day over. I thought I was highly allergic to. It turns out it was just a mental thing. I used to think, see, Strawberries. I used to think I was allergic to strawberries, but it turns, because every time I ate strawberries I felt sick, or something with strawberry in it. But it got to the stage where if something was red I wouldn't eat it because I would think it was strawberry flavour. And it wasn't me going, oh my god, this is strawberry flavour. No, it was right back here in the right tippy tappy back of your brain. When you realise something's the colour red, you're like, no, that's strawberry flavour. And you're not even saying it's strawberry flavour, but your stomach turns and you feel like getting sick. I used to think I was allergic to strawberries, but I think it was just because I used to pick strawberries with my nanny before she passed. And I was basically 10 years old when my nana passed. It was 2 days before my 10th birthday. So I think I just related that to that. Like, my love of strawberries, which I obviously did love because I used to pick them every season with her. So we had proper fresh from the garden strawberries. That's why I got that tattoo. That's from my nana. It's like a little ladybug and 2 strawberries representing me and her on it. That's why I got that. We used to pick them every season that they were ripe to pick. Bring them in, wash them and sit there and eat them. That's what we used to do, or put them in desserts now, which I loved. So I think that's why I never ate Knickerbocker Lloyd. That and there's nuts in it, which I really don't like. I like satay. It's like my back is going. I'm sitting in this chair and I have one other video to record tonight, so I do. For yous, well, for YouTube. So I feel like I should have been diagnosed with this. I really do. I'm going to do a lot more research on it. Like, I only found out little bits, which was like, okay, it's it's more common. It's like very very common lately. So it is, especially with more people going in and getting diagnosed with it since 2013. But it affects roughly 1.9 to 2.8 of the population, which is quite a bit of the population when you think of it for an eating disorder, like. But it is actually, like, you've heard of the usual eating disorders, bulimia and anorexia. They're the two that you kind of hear the majority of. But one little fact that I had to write down to say to you was that binge eating disorder is or known as BED, is actually 3 times more common. So that means you could literally have 10 people out there suffering with anorexia, 10 people suffering with bulimia kind of thing, but you'd have like 30 people or 60 people suffering with binge eating. And it wasn't until 2013 was it noticeable. And that's because a lot of people are just like, oh, you're just unhealthy, oh, you're just greedy. Well, it's not. You can't control it. Like, I've been battling with this, with my eating habits since I was a kid. I've never been skinny. Now, if I had kept up what I was doing when I was 16, I would be skinny, because I would have grown, and I would have grown into my fat, basically, is the best way to word it. Or when I was 16, when I was a kid, when I was in primary school, if I had kept up with the dancing, with the moving, and cutting out the junk food, yeah, okay, I was a chubby kid, but I would have grown into that fat and been skinny, which goes to show I haven't, obviously, grown into it. I've just gained more of it instead. So I have, but no, I just, this is something that I really wanted to talk about, because I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I'm going to do even more research on it and look into kind of ways you can help binge eating, besides just like obviously cutting out junk food, cutting out takeaways, cutting out fizzy drink. Yeah, but you can also binge on cooked food at home. Like, a small bowl of soup wouldn't be good enough. You'd have to have the whole pot kind of thing, is what binge eating is like. You can't just have something small. Now, I was happy yesterday with what I ate. I only had like chips and curry sauce yesterday because we didn't know what way dinner was going, so that's all I had. And normally I'd be like, no, chips and curry sauce, I can't just have that, I need to have this with it, I need to have this with it. But I just took it, accepted it, and yeah, I was hungry later on. And I even said this to Graham last night, I was like, I'm hungry, I really am hungry. Then I was like, do you know what? I'm hungry now, but that just means I'll be hungry in the morning, which means I'm going to eat my breakfast. So I left it, went to bed, woke up and had my breakfast. And I ate it and I enjoyed it. Normally I feel sick eating breakfast, which I technically still did. But I was able to kind of push past it because I was that hungry that I ate it then. And I had my dinner at 6 and didn't have anything else to eat until, what was it, 9 o'clock? Yeah. About 9 o'clock this morning I had food. 8:30, 9, we were up quite early. So it was. So I probably will do another talk on binge eating once I find out better facts. I'm kind of doing this on the whim in the sense of I just wanted to kind of get it out there. So like realistically, I think as a kid I should have been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and binge eating, which is not a great combination, especially for a child who is trying to lose weight, or an adult trying to lose weight. In all fairness, like I technically still slightly have that. Like I still have little bits in my room. I haven't eaten them. They're not hidden. My mom knows about them. Everyone knows about the food in my room, but it's still there. I still went out and bought it. Not that I've had it, but I've still bought it. Now, thankfully, like I haven't gone and bought like loads of food and eaten it in the one day. Like last weekend, I treated myself to a bottle of Coke, one of the big bottles, and I made it last 3 days. It was actually didn't even drink at all. In fairness, it lasted so long that it actually went dead, which wasn't very nice. And my ice cream that I usually buy, the one that I'm obsessed with, the Häagen-Dazs Belgian chocolate, I've been able to buy that and just leave it in the freezer and not have to eat it, which I'm very happy about. I have a plan to eat a bit of it when I get to my first stone lost, because it'd be like my little reward for losing a stone. But I don't care that's down there. I'm not going to eat it. Like, I'm getting better. But I honest to God think Tata Hospital should have diagnosed me with binge eating. So I'm going to do a lot more research on it. And I'm going to find out ways to kind of control the cravings for binge eating and wanting to eat loads of food like I do right now. Hence why I'm recording so many videos to distract myself. That is what I'm doing. So yeah, that and watching watching telly distracts me. And 90% of the time I won't binge eat or eat in general while watching it. But today is a very stressful day and I just want to eat, so I'm trying to distract myself by recording loads of videos. Basically. So I probably will do another video on binge eating disorder when I get more facts. I'm going to write like loads of stuff down. I might type it up and print it off in work next week. I'll probably record it next week. I'll probably type it up and print it off. But for now, I've recorded 2 life goal videos tonight and I have to record an update video, just to explain why we're so all over the place with videos. It's only going to be a short one. I won't talk on too long in it, so I won't. But I would love to know if anyone does suffer with binge eating, and just if you have any tips on how to, overcome it fully, because I haven't fully overcome it. I am overcoming it. As I said, I've gotten better over the years. Also had to get motivated a little bit more. As I said in the last video, I'm going to be doing more workouts and all, but I need to get more motivated. And I need to, if anyone has any tips of how to get motivated in all this, I would very much appreciate that. But for now, I'm going to record the update video explaining why we're so far behind on videos. Because we are. So, again, if you want to follow along with my journey, hop on over to my Instagram page, Sarah's Life Gold. Link will be in the description below. I got a little Olaf pen. And I'll see you either over there or in another video here. I'm going to try record loads of life goals videos for you because I've loads of things that I want to get off my chest with all this, and just wondering if people feel the same way or if there is anyone out there that is a little bit more like me when it comes to losing weight and exercising, because I'd like to know, because I don't have anyone like that to talk to. My friends are very good at getting motivated. I'm not. So it's very hard for me to get motivated. So I'd love to know if there's anyone else out there that just can't get motivated for stuff. So I'd like to know. I really wish I was one of those. Jealous of you people that can. So I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.